Dziękuję bardzo. Szanowni Państwo.
Thank you very much. The issue we're debating today is tremendously wide and deserves a long discussion, but I think that I don't have more than a few minutes. So it'll have to be fairly telegraphic. I'll try to cite some of the issues to do with Europe 2020 strategy, the EU in crisis and striving for competitiveness. Well, competitiveness, that's the first thing I wanted to mention. And is there such a thing as European competitiveness? Perhaps I could theorize a little. The competitiveness of Europe is the sum of the competitivenesses of Europe's diverse regions and their different levels of potential. That is Europe's competitiveness. In that respect, I agree with the previous speaker who said that a one-size-fits-all approach to increasing Europe's competitiveness is a risky strategy. The second issue I wanted to mention is leveling out. That is particularly difficult for me because I'm from a country which wants to catch up with others. But it's perfectly obvious that there is not even a theoretical possibility of everyone being at the same level of development. Not today, not tomorrow, not even in the distant future. Because that would imply that some would have to tread water and let others catch up. Everyone ought to be able to work towards their objectives. What we need is European best practice, a standard we should all seek to achieve. And then the differences between us will always be there because they're based on objective differences in levels of development. Then the question of how to reconcile the treaty objective of leveling out development and the Europe 2020 strategy. They're not necessarily contradictory. The Europe 2020 strategy is a very ambitious strategy. 1.8 billion euro is a very considerable amount of money. And we would have to put together the European money with the national money, with the local and regional money. And at least at local and regional level, there isn't much of that money around anymore. And that leaves a hole that needs to be plugged. And the question is, we seek help from the private sector, but is the private sector able to help? And I don't think it is entirely. In the Athens Declaration and elsewhere, and in the Co-Chair Commission, which I have the honor of chairing, territorialization is very much a buzzword. It's a model for everybody. And we do have very diverse regions in Europe. I think perhaps we need to review the vision on the basis of territorial considerations, bearing in mind the objective differences and the differences in development models in order to fulfill regions' potential. Only if a region can fulfill its potential can it develop. There is no point implementing a strategy which is inappropriate to local needs. That would be doomed to failure. Hence, the territorial dimension is so important. The next issue is consistency of action, and the previous speaker referred to that. National reform programs could be seen as a model here for the implementation of pro-development measures. There needs to be joined-up action between central governments, regional governments, and local governments. They can all contribute modest budgets, and those modest amounts of money should be used to make the most of synergies and with the greatest degree of efficiency. I think that those are the key issues that I wanted to flag up today. Possibly later on during the debate, we can refer to the instruments that are appearing in cohesion policy, for example, integrated territorial investment and strategic investment areas, or the financial instruments which will be used in the implementation of cohesion policy in order to kickstart the economy, in order to stimulate job creation, because after all, self-employment or the expansion of small and medium-sized businesses is the most effective way out of the crisis. I think that good relations with the private sector, public-private partnerships, those are the best way to go forward. Thank you.